All right, so this week's podcast is going to be about the 7-point update and as well as we have
7.9.
7.9 update. So I'll be having me in here. We'll also be talking at the end about some first blood and stuff that's going to be coming up soon. So that will get started. My two guests here with me today that will be helping me out with the analysis of the patch, and their names they go by Plant. So Plant, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Plant. That's all you need to know.
And then we have our usual co-host, Kade. Kade, go ahead.
What's up, guys?
We'll just get started right away with this one, and we're gonna get going. All right, so the patch kind of begins here with them talking about how they want to make the game, balance as always. They talk about their changes. We're just gonna go look at them right away. So Maokai was changed a bit. They talk about the quote here, but I'm really concerned with that. So in general, he was updated. Visuals were updated. The abilities were updated. The ability icons, I mean. He got some base changes up. His health went from his starting health went from 572.2 to 540. His growth stat went up from 90 to 95. Health regen went down from 7 to 5. And the armor went up from 28.7 to 30. And then his sap magic was changed a little bit. It no longer uses the stacking system. Instead it uses a 30 to 20 cooldown based going down from levels 1, 6, and 17. And instead of having the stack like it said, it now, whenever a spell is casted, when he casts a spell or when an enemy hits him with a spell, it gets reduced cooldown by 4 seconds. And then the heal was changed a bit. Instead of having 5 to 6 to 7% maximum health at levels 1, 7, and 13, and now a flat growing from 10 to at the end 130. And then along with that, it has a maximum health percentage going from levels 1, 6, 9, 11, 13, 5, and 17. So what do you think about the new passive there?
Point, you want to go first?
Yeah, you can go first, man.
Alright. Well, basically, I'm not quite sure because it said before that they kind of wanted to aim Maokai more towards the jungle with like his sapling buff, which we'll get to later. But the one thing about that is that his early clear is most likely going to be weaker with the health nerf, like his base stats, and then also his health regen. So that's going to be a little bit tougher to clear in the jungle. And then along with the sap magic, like his passive getting like instead of a stacking feature, the second timing and this getting hit by spells and stuff, I think it's going to be harder to clear with that because, I mean, obviously the monsters aren't going to be casting spells at you. So that's going to be a little worse in the jungle. But late game, if you're playing him top and stuff, or just in general late game, it's going to be a lot better, especially with the maximum health scaling and all the new tank items, which we'll also be talking about later. So in the end, I think it's just going to be a lot better late game than it is early.
All right. And then his Q did get a couple changes. I don't know if you've gotten to play it, but it's called now the Bramble Smash. It's a lot faster.
Very important.
The animation is quite a bit faster, it's significantly faster. It goes from 0.38 to 0.35, which doesn't seem like it'd be huge, but honestly, it feels totally different for me whenever I play it. And then they nerfed the slow on it. Instead of having like a duration of 1.5 seconds, it's now a 99% slow for 0.25 seconds. So it's just a very, very small slow. It's kind of like a Thresh.
Yeah.
I
don't really like that, to be honest. I think it's a lot better before with the 1.5 second because a 99% slow is like really nice, but when it's for that short, it almost makes no difference. Like it's a very little timing.
Yeah. Okay. And then Twisted Advance was changed a bit. They brought down the maximum health damage into a flat damage now. So they're really just nerfing his damage overall to make sure that he doesn't. They don't want him to doing damage basically. And then his sapling toss was also changed. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that one a little bit more on it. it does more stuff in the brush. It does more damage in the brush. I think it's twice as much, right?
Yep.
The mana cost was brought down. It used to be a scaling hit, and now it's flat. And then the cooldown is brought down by just 1 second. And then the sap duration is a flat 30 seconds, and then it gets increased to a minute if it's in a brush, as well as having a bigger, a smaller slow for longer. It used to be 5.50% for 1 second, and it's now 35% for 2 seconds. And then obviously the saplings being tossed into the brush increases their duration, and then their explosion deals 100% more damage over 2 seconds, so it's got a dot now. But it does have a cap on non-champions to 300. And then his ult was completely reworked into what's now called Nature's Grasp, which is kind of like a Nami ult type of root with a lot slower animation. I think it can root up to 5 people. Yep, because it's got 5 brambles, so it's like 5 separate sections that'll root people. And the root duration goes up with however long distance it is. So
Yeah.
you guys want to talk about that one? How viable do you think he is right now?
As far as viable goes, I will say this: between the ult and the sapling toss, like his sapling toss as it stands is probably what is keeping him in the game right now. I hate to say that because it's damage ability, but this is opening him up to being able to support. I've seen that in several games. I think right now he's least viable top lane, and I don't. It's kind of hard to see where he's being placed, but he's a very strong jungler, and he's a very. This is my opinion. I have seen him play support, and it is basically, rewinding back to how it was with the Malzahar cheese when everybody was playing him. He was a sought after Korean pick, NA pick, whatever. Just because he basically just zone you off of your your level 1 laning phase. That is what Maokai is capable of doing with those saplings. I have seen 2 saplings get thrown in a bush, and they do grow and everything, and just the support takes them to the face, and they're already sitting at like 30% health.
I'm very excited to see Earth Maokai with these saplings.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about Earth.
That's all I'm gonna say. His ult, basically, I personally haven't played against his ult, but I feel like it's essentially useless against anyone with mobility.
Mhm.
But if, I don't know, you blow someone's flash beforehand, it can be used as a good engage tool, but other than that, I don't think it's that great, unless you're just against a bunch of immobile champions.
Yeah, it's gonna be that's the issue. That's what everybody's complaining about right now. It is very, very slow. But I will give it this: if you're it's fantastic against sieges and initiating fights against sieges because it is very hard. His level 3 ultimate is very hard to get away from it if he's coming straight at you.
Okay.
Yeah. I also think it could be used actually as a very good disengage tool. If they're just running at you down mid lane, just throw that at them and they have nothing to do. Like
Yes.
they can't get away from it unless they have something to jump over with it. But other than that, I mean, it's just nothing, no counterplay.
Yeah, so I've heard people talking about this and how it's supposed to be used for like a flanking ult, and it doesn't make sense to me as a champ because Maokai can flank on his own. It doesn't make sense to toss out his ult early and then show up. I don't know. So how do you think the new tank items affect him right now? Obviously don't go into detail about what the new items are, but how do you think they play along with him?
I mean, it works pretty well since they kind of just destroyed his damage in general, and they wanted to make him into a more tank style champion, which he already was, but like completely. The stone plate item with the health and the damage reduction on him, it's gonna be really good, just so he can just face tank consistently. And with his, what is it? I believe his passive, yeah, his passive cooldown, getting hit by spells by every 4 seconds. It's just he's going to be able to face tank completely with the extra health that he gets, and then just completely proc his passive every however time it is. But yeah, yeah, it's going to be good with him.
Okay. Alright, so next, he did get a couple of splash updates. Shard Maokai, Totem Maokai. I don't even have Totem Maokai because it was awful. So hopefully it gets some changes. Obviously, they're just their plat. Hopefully,
I don't think we really need to talk about skins too much.
I
will say though.
I love me some.
I will say that Shard Maokai is fire.
I'll kill yourself. It's pretty lit, I must say.
Okay, so next we're gonna go into Sejuani. Sejuani's title is now Fury of the North. It's now not Winter's Wrath, so that's a huge one right there. Sejuani's icons and abilities are updated. The ability animations and visual effects have also been updated. Her stats were changed a bit. She got a nerfed in her armor early on from 29.5 to 27. Armor growth got updated though from 3 to 4. And attack range was increased from 125 to 150. Attack damage base was increased nerfed from 57 to 57.5 to 56 flat, and then attack damage growth stat was nerfed from 3.3 to 3, and attack speed was also nerfed from 0.67 to 0.625, and then attack speed growth was buffed from 1.45 to 3%. And then the passive was changed quite a bit, and I think this one's pretty huge, honestly. She gains bonus resistances when not being hit with damage. It's 100 additional armor and magic resist, and she's immune to slows while frost armor is on, and then it lingers from 1 to 2 to 3 seconds. So like if she's slowed at the beginning initially, it'll cancel it, but it'll cancel it like a second or two later, and then it only takes 9 seconds of not taking damage for it to refresh. That's really big when it comes to her engages, right? Because she can like jump in and be super tanky initially.
Yeah, that's gonna be absolutely huge in just her overall utility right now. Just everything else that she brings to the table. Like as far as what I've seen in rank, right now she's either ban or pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So along with that, she has a different passive called Icebreaker. Enemies stunned by Sejuani are frozen, causing her first spell or attack against them to deal bonus damage. This is really big. So it does 10 to 15 to 20% of the target's maximum health from 1 to 7 to 14 levels 1, 7, or 14, and then it caps on monsters to 400. That's super huge. That makes it like a clear easy, right? Like super easy. And then her Q was just changed around a little bit. The mana was brought down. The cooldown was brought down substantially at the beginning stages. But that's not really affected much because usually you max that ability, right? First for the ganks. More often than not. Correct?
I never really played Sejuani.
No, more often than not, that is what you would be maxing it.
Yeah. And then they nerfed the base damage of it significantly. It used to be 80, 125, 170, 215, and 260, and is now 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, with the same ability power ratio. And then the knockup duration was nerfed from 0.75 to 0.5. And then a big thing about this one is also that it no longer does an area knockup. It's only the first target that it hits is going to be the person that's going to be knocked up.
Oh. It's a pretty big nerf, actually.
Yeah, that is pretty big.
That's going to hurt her a lot, actually, in 2v2 ganks.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then Sejuani, his W was completely reworked. It's now Winter's Wrath, I believe. Sejuani swings her mace in an arc that lashes out in a line. Both hits deal damage and apply frost. It's costs 60 mana. The cooldown is 10, 9, 8, and 7 based on level. The first hit does 30 to 35, 40, 45, or 50, plus 1.5 of Sejuani's maximum health damage in a cone, applying frost and knocking back minions and monsters. That's pretty big in terms of clear. First hit delay is 0.25 seconds starting on cast, and then the second hit is you see the damage there. It also has a maximum. It does 4.5 of Sejuani's maximum health damage in a line, and then the delay on that one is 0.75 starting after the first hit. And then just like Lucian with his calling, she can freely move while it's being casted. But it'll still hit in the same direction that she originally casted it from. And then Permafrost. Permafrost was changed. This is a really big one. Sejuani and nearby melee allies apply Frost with their basic attacks, stacking up to 4 times. Sejuani can cast Permafrost on enemies with max Frost stacks. It costs 20 mana. Its cooldown is 1.5 seconds. And per target cooldown, so each target can only be stunned again every 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. And that increases based on her levels. And then the damage is not much, 40, 60, 80, 100, and 120 with a 0.3 ability power ratio. And the stun duration goes from 1 to 2 seconds based on the ability level. And then her ulti got buffed a bit, or got changed. She throws her Ice Bola, damaging and stunning the first enemy it hits. And after that, it spreads out into a bolt. It costs 100 mana, and the cooldown is 120, 180 based on the level. Bullets are empowered after traveling 400 distance. So you kind of have to throw it from further away now to have some sort of skill for it to do more damage. Damage is 100 to 120 to 150 with a 0.4 ability power. And then power damage after it goes a longer distance is 150, 250, and 350 with 0.8 ability power. 1 second. The stun is for 1 second and doubled with the empowered bola, so it could go up to 2 seconds depending on how far it throws. And then once it spreads out, the storm duration is for 2 seconds, and the slow is 30 seconds, while the 30%, while champions are inside of it. The explosion damage is 150, 250, and 350 with 0.8 ability power, and the explosion slow is 80% for 3 seconds. So what do you think about Sejuani now overall?
I think her E is pretty interesting. It's gonna be pretty easy to stack with her auto attack range increased too to 150. So that's gonna be a little bit easier to get off, and it's all melee champions, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, melee champions. So if you do have a Maokai on your team, maybe top or support, and he dives in, they're just gonna be able to keep ripping on your backline with that.
Mhm. So
Yeah, just as a whole, she's just a force to be reckoned with right now. Especially her ultimate. It's great.
her ult. Initially, I thought it was going to be awful because it doesn't have the the AOE stun immediately, so it doesn't have the huge impact. But after seeing it in play, that slow is tremendous. It's almost like you're stunned for that duration. You can't hardly do anything in there, and it's for so long. 80% slow for 3 seconds is so big. She's definitely, she feels like the strongest out of the 3 that were changed, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. I'd say she's easily the best one. I'm not really sure how Zach is right now either. I haven't been playing on this patch very much so far, but I have heard he's not the best champion.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like a tier list goes for these 3 champions right now, I would probably rank them Sejuani taking top spot, Maokai being somewhere in between, and Zach being at the
bottom.
At the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom.
And granted, he is still good, but just the changes they made to him just weren't astronomical. His Q's a little wonky to play with, especially if you haven't been playing on the PTR or tried him at all since. But
his ult as well.
Yeah, just a little, just a little
bit. Yeah, just a little. Just picks him up and throws him into the enemy team.
All right, and then we're gonna go into Zach. I don't think I should go over the numbers honestly, because you can only look at the numbers. But cell division is generally the same. I don't think they changed anything about that one.
Yeah, they didn't change anything. Really.
Q is significantly different. It now his arm stretches to one opponent, hits them, and then goes.
Well, if it's still a skill shot.
Yeah, it's a skill shot. It's a skill shot. So he hits someone and it clings onto them, and then his next auto attack will cling onto the next person, and then they'll bash them together. So this is quite a bit different. It has a 60% slow for just a little bit, and it does some decent damage. It obviously costs health just like everything else that he used to have. But what do you guys think about this?
Oh, Zach's very important. Also, his voice scales with its HP.
His
So
Yep.
voice, his voice
yeah,
skills.
his
with
voice
HP?
does get higher the lower he is.
Oh boy,
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
the sun's ridiculous. And then let's see. W is essentially the same thing, and then Elastic Slingshot was overall just
The numbers were changed a bit.
the numbers were changed a bit just to probably looks like damage.
His damage is increased a little bit on it, and it automatically cancels a bit sooner as well at
Yeah.
max level.
And then
Other than that,
it looks like he
cooldown's
gets
not
more goo.
changed.
It looks like he gets more goo. Oh, and the knockup.
Yeah, he
was
spawns an
nerfed.
extra chunk.
The knockup
Yeah.
was nerfed from 1 second to 0.5. That's super big, because he just made his. All right, so we can talk about his R, right? His R, he plops down onto the ground like a puddle, and then he bounces back up. And depending on how long you hold the puddle on the floor, you can either toss him to a certain direction, or just knock him like the way, if you don't charge it at all, it just knocks him the way you did with your old ultimate, right? It just like bounces him away from you.
Yeah, I believe so.
That's so like
Yep.
it being nerfed, the E being nerfed means you can't combo this too well anymore, right?
No, you still can.
It's just a little bit harder. Let's see.
A tad bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little bit harder. I mean, players still should be able to do that generally easy.
If Let's Bounce, I guess it only takes 1 second to charge up, so it's not too big actually. But yeah, you could still do it there.
I feel like this could seriously screw over your own team. Like certain Zacks, like low elo Zacks, are gonna be jumping in and they're gonna pick up tanks and throw them into your backline on accident.
That'd be hilarious watching like
I just don't think that's very good.
just
But if
watching
you can
like Zach tossing a Malphite.
Yeah, if you can just manage to get into the backline from like a flank or something, then it could be pretty good. Just completely
So do you
ruin all
guys-
positioning they had planned.
Do you think it's just terms of like getting used to his new ultimate, or do you think he's just bad right currently?
I just don't think he's as good with his abilities.
And then do you think he changed? Like, is he a top laner? Is he a jungler? Or is he a support?
Still jungle,
Still a
definitely
jungler.
still jungler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see, you might see a select few like Hashinshin playing him top.
Actually, I could see a Zac support like be a little cheese pick, kind of like Maokai, with his new Q. Just hit the
That's
ADC
true.
support into each other and knock them back into your tower if they're extending too far. I think that could be pretty good. He does have pretty good gank assist with his ult.
Yeah, I heard talks about it being a top laner, but I don't think with the Q changed. I don't think so.
Yeah. And
Um,
So I'd still put him at the bottom of the tier list in terms of new tanks.
Yeah. All right. So next we're gonna go into the actual tank items. So Adaptive Helm is an interesting one, and I've seen it a couple times in the games, and based on the passive, the passive, it's basically old Banshee's stuff. It builds out of a no magic mantle, Spectre's Cowl, and a Ruination Beam. Overall, it gives 300 health and 55 magic resist with 100% base health regeneration and a 10% cooldown reduction. The unique passive, taking magic damage from a spell or effect reduces all subsequent magic damage from that spell or effect by 15 seconds by 15% for 4 seconds. That doesn't feel that great, honestly, playing it. I don't know what you guys think about that one.
It doesn't feel that great. You're gonna see that it's gonna be built a lot on tanks versus. I mean, this is directly hurting people like Swain. Our damage over time.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatnot.
Cassiopean brand.
Yes, I mean that's Cassiopeia. I mean, with this specific item, like this is one of those items where like Cassiopeia hasn't been played a lot the way it is. I don't think you're gonna see her at all. Once people hang on to this, and
Yeah.
My
I
poor
just
Azir.
see I see this As well, I guess not. I was gonna say I could see this as something that a Vladimir would rush, but the bonus healing on Spirit Visage also got buffed, so take that back.
I mean, you could do both if it's like multiple AP people. Do you remember
As
Quas last year running full tank Vladimir top?
that's basically just being a nuisance
Yep.
with getting damage off on your Q, on your passive Q.
Okay. So then next we're gonna go into Gargoyle Stoneplate.
I think this is a really good item, actually.
Yeah, you think so? All right.
Yeah,
So the gist of it is it costs 250. The build path is Chain Vest and Negatron Cloak plus 980 gold. It's got 40 armor and 40 magic resist, and the passive is called Stone Skin. If 3 or plus enemy champions are nearby, you gain 40 plus 40 bonus armor and magic resist, and as well as having an active metalize. Um, metalize, yeah. For 4 seconds, grow in size and gain bonus health up to equal to 40% of your maximum health, but reduce damage by 60% if Stone Skin is active while you activate this one. It increases the health bonuses by 100% instead, so it doubles your health, but you still get the reduced damage by 60%. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about this one a bit more.
okay. This item synergizes with Cho'Gath extremely well because
Oh yeah.
his ultimate and he gains all of the HP because it does reduce damage, but it doesn't mean it reduces true damage.
Yep.
So like he will literally one shot the ADC and mid laner with his ult if he gets like an auto or two on him. So that works really well with him. And in general, with the new tanks, it works really well because they're kind of trying to nerf the damage a little bit. Maybe not with Sejuani so much, but um, especially Maokai, he
Mm-hmm.
can, like I said earlier, just jump in, activate this once his rotation of spells is down, and he can face tank for a while, getting his passive off. Also, I think this could be a good last item build for someone like Brand, where he can get his rotation off, get his whatever it is, EWQ ult, where he's kind of useless after that. Like his spells have a pretty decent cooldown on them. So if someone jumps on him after he uses his combo, he can activate this, get live for a while. Plus, he also does build a generally good amount of HP with Rylai's and Leandries and Rod of Ages if you decide to go that build. And then someone jumps on him, he activates this, gets a lot of HP, he can run back, kite back, or whatever, and then he can get his rotation of spells back up and be useful again. So I think it could be a good survivability item for a champion like him.
Okay. So Plant, I don't know what you think about this item.
Yeah, I've actually dabbled with this a little bit on several different champions. I have noticed that this makes Warwick has always been a big problem in ranked as of late, as of the changes and everything. This just makes him absolutely insane, especially like mid late and late game. I mean,
Yeah.
other champions like Sejuani, Zach even. We talked about him not being that great. I mean, if he's jumping into a fight and popping this, you're not killing him. Same with Maokai, and like I said, they were directly. This was all directly influenced by the tank changeover and everything. But this item is just it's too good. Like you just can't not build this. It's just too good.
So do you think this is like a rush, or do you think it's like a second or third item thing type of thing?
I think it's better later in the game.
Yes, that is 100% true.
100% true. Okay. Do you think other champions will be able to abuse this? Like you mentioned Cho'Gath, but what about like Darius or Fiora? Would they like this item?
I don't think so. Actually, Fiora could be because of her vital procs with
They do
that
two
damage,
damage. Yeah.
but I don't think Darius because other than his ult with true damage, he really relies on the Q and W, like just getting people down. So I don't think it'd be that amazing. I think Steric's Gauge would be a better option.
Okay. Alright, so next we're just going to go into the other items that were changed. Sunfire Cape was just changed around overall. And generally, most of these items here were changed from bringing down their health, instead bringing up the resistances. So down with health, up with resistances. Sunfire Cape was changed with the burn radius from 400 to 325, and then it was upped The damage was upped from 50% to 200% on against minions. So they're really wanting, they're harpering. Well, not only are they buffing tank junglers, but they're also buffing tank split pushers with these changes, and it also the same with Cinderhawk being changed the exact same way. Spirit Visage got again health down, magic resist up, and then the healing went from 25% to 30%. So that's definitely huge for Vladimir, like you said, and maybe some other tanks like Maokai. Spectre's Cowl was nerfed a little bit. It went from 30 to 25% magic resist. So just a little, just some initial magic resist a little bit lower. Dead Man's Blade was changed around again, health down, armor up, and now you gain more momentum stacks per second while moving. But now you only get that bonus auto damage when it's at 100%. You don't get it in between. Randuin's was changed around to increase the critical chance damage reduction. The critical strike damage reduction from 10% to 20%. And they changed the build path a little bit to make it a little bit wonky. It now builds out of 2 ruby crystals and a warden's mail, plus a 1,000 gold instead of giant spelt and warden's mail plus 900 gold. And then the active was brought down. The active slow was brought down from 35% over 4 seconds to 55 for 2 seconds. So I don't know what you guys think about all these tank ones. Oh yeah, and Warmogs. Warmogs was changed a bit. I don't know. Do you guys ever build Warmogs? Have you seen Warmogs at all?
Warmogs has basically been a dead item in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no point in bringing this one up. I've seen it built in ARAM. That's like the only time I ever see it touched.
I mean, it could be good on Cho'Gath, like we said,
Yeah,
with a lot of HP.
that's definitely true. Scion could maybe use it with all these items
Yeah.
having a lot of armor. So I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about these items specifically? What do you think is strong? What do you think is okay?
I think Spirit Visage is really strong with the heal increase as well. I think the extra bit of magic resist will help, but the health reduction is going to be kind of big. I mean, 75 health is a pretty good chunk. But the healing increase is mostly what I'm focused on, up to 30%. Going to be good with Vladimir. Champions like Maokai with the passive. Yeah, that's all.
So what do you think about the tank split pushers? Do you think this is something good, something healthy, or do you think they'll still be outshined by the bruisers? Oh, that link doesn't work anymore. I don't think.
Oh, never mind. I'll just send it one.
It's kind of hit or miss at the moment. I still think they're going to be outshined, but we're going to have to see. That there's always like this lull, and everybody's like trying new stuff out and everything. I think within like a week or two, we'll have a lot more definitive answers.
Okay. And then they changed a little bit on the AP items. They switched Banshee's Veil and Abyssal Scepter a bit. They switched around. So they switched around their stats, and then kept the passives the same. So now Banshee's Veil is the old Abyssal's stats. So it's got 70 ability power, and 10% cooldown reduction, and instead of 70 magic resist like it had, it has 45. But now it grants a spell shield that goes on cooldown for 40 seconds. Well, right, yeah, it goes on cooldown for 40 seconds. That's pretty huge, right? You're building that a lot on the mages currently, right?
Yeah, no, that is a pretty big item.
And then,
Yeah.
And then Abyssal Scepter was changed. This is now a tank item. Like I said, it's now built the same way that old Banshees used to build, but now it increases nearby enemy champions take 10% more magic damage. This is built towards like Sejuani and Maokai and them, right? To deal more damage while being tanky, because all their damage is significantly reduced. So do you think this is like a must buy on some champions you want to split push or fight against people? I don't know. What do you think? Guys?
Oh, rip, mic
That's-
muted.
Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
We're still on Banshee's fill, right?
The Banshees and Abyssal, yeah.
Oh yeah. Banshee's fill I think it's gonna be really good on champions like Vigar in lane. I've heard it's actually really good with Vigar. For tanks, I mean, I don't think there's really a point to build it on tanks, other than maybe Sejuani because of her AP ratio. I think up a little bit, but champions like Maokai and Zac not worth it. Just build straight MR like Spirit.
Or how about Abyssal? Do you think you'd build Abyssal on unlike Sejuani because she doesn't have any
Um,
healing? It increases her damage a bit.
yeah, maybe if you were going for more of a off tank build where you want to do more damage, but I don't know.
Okay. So overall, do you think all these new items? Well, I guess there's only 2 new items, but do you think that they'll be seen often in the certain matchups? And do you think they'll be abused? Some of these items, well, do you think they'll be abused by other rules?
Oh wait, sorry. Abyssal Scepter, it might be really good on a Mumu too.
Oh yeah,
His new auto attack where what is it? They deal a certain amount of true damage after the auto of magic damage, and then with the Abyssal Scepter and Leandri combo, that could be really good too.
okay. And then we have a couple items that were changed around that were typically built on bruisers and stuff. So Guardian Angel no longer gives magic resist, and instead is now an AD item that builds out of BF sword and a cloth armor with plus 800 gold. Now gives 40% attack damage, and instead of 60 armor, it gives 30. Um, and upon taking lethal damage, it restores 50% base health and 30% maximum mana for 4 seconds out of stasis. Um, so I don't know. What do you guys think about that one? That one's pretty big, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit. Sorry. It's gonna be a really good buy on ADCs now. However, it also might not be at the same time because if they have a big AP threat, you're not gonna want to build it. But if it's just like a mostly AD team, it'd be a pretty good build
Okay.
for later on.
I would say it's good for later on. I have, however, seen a lot of people, particularly on Lucian, because has been he's decent right now, but he does lose some matchups to a lot of long range shit. I've seen a lot of Lucians get ahead and be able to build that first and just be such a nuisance and be able to completely duel the other ADC. It's been insane.
Oh boy. So it's not a board crush on Lucian right now. It's a GA rush. Sounds weird.
I'm not going to say anything yet. I have seen quite a few people starting to do that though, so we'll have to see.
Oh boy. Okay, and then Sterix was changed around a little bit as well. Um, it's got this. The health is about the same. I think the only tank item that doesn't get health reduced. So its base damage up. It went from 25% to 30% now. And the lifeline was changed a bit. It used to be 30 when you take upon taking damage 400 to 800 1800 damage based on level. Within 5 seconds, you gain rapidly decaying shield that used to be 30% of maximum health for 3 seconds to 75% of your bonus health for 8 seconds. That means that shield's lasting for a while if you're not getting hit a lot, right?
I think this can be a broken item on Darius.
This one's the Darius
Yes.
item.
Yeah, this is a Darius item. If you're building a lot of HP, which I know got nerfed, but if you end up building a Warmogs or something like that, you're gonna be really tanky in a team fight for a while with all your healing too.
Okay. And then the Doran shield changes. I don't know if you guys have played against that yet, but I
No, I
have, and
haven't.
this feels really bad, really annoying. So it got brought down from 450 gold to 400. So that means you can get 2 pots now. We're starting off with it. The health is unchanged that it gives you, and it now gives it gives the health regeneration, +6 flat health regeneration per 5 seconds, unchanged. Uh, and it no longer reduces single target spells or basic attacks, but instead it now gives shield slam, which is basic attack steal 5 damage on hit to minions on hit, so you can last it a little bit easier with them. And unique passive gain 20 health over 10 seconds after taking damage from an enemy champion. That's a really good laning item. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, that's gonna be insane for sustain. You can just sit back for a little bit and then just gain back all your HP. And plus you get 2 pots with it now because they reduced the gold by 50.
Yeah, I've been taking this on most of my tanks and like going like double, like 2 of them.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I know it doesn't help with the regain health because it's unique passive, but the on hit thing helps you last hit really well.
Yeah.
If you're not like using a lot of mana, it's really useful.
I
It's
will
also
say this. Oh, go ahead, kid.
no. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this. Um, this is a prediction of mine, just because I've been doing it, and quite a lot of other people have been doing it as well. But this is more or less a must if you're playing an ADC that has an
Yeah.
unfavorable matchup in the bot lane.
I think this is gonna be such a lifesaver for champions like Vayne into a Caitlyn or Lucian matchup.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna like it actually could make her a little bit more viable in laning, like just surviving, because that's all you really need to do with them right now. Champion, like if you end up getting Twitch and then you get Lucian picked against you, I think it'd be a really good start.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And
So overall,
it's
what do you
also
think
good
of all
for
these tank
pushing the
items?
wave too.
So
Um,
overall,
I think they're really good. I think a lot of the changes could be extremely annoying to play against, but that's basically what tanks are. So
okay. And then next, in order to balance out the fact that all the tanks are tankier now, the damage items did get buffed a little bit. Blade of the Ruined King being the only one that got nerfed. It went from costing 3,300 health, 3,300 gold, sorry, to 3,400 gold. So it's just a
yeah,
little bit. It's not too much.
yeah.
And
Death
most of
Stance just more
yeah,
AD. All
more
these just
AD
got like plus 580, and
plus
then the
5 AD.
damage. Death Stance actually a pretty big buff would be the damage deferred to 30% instead of 15. So that's gonna be a lot of survivability for champions. Like
You live a lot
if you pick
longer with that, don't you?
Graves, Lucian, you run GA on that, it's gonna be really tough to kill.
Yeah. And then the critical strike items were buffed. Infinity Edge and Essence Reaper went from 3,600 gold to 3,400 gold. Which that's if you're building both of them, that's essentially a free kill right there, right?
Yeah, it's
Zeal got buffed and now costs 1,200 gold. So I think you're gonna be seeing BF Zeal like quite a bit now with the
I still honestly don't think you will be. I think that's what Riot was aiming to do with these buffs. With like they want more Essence Reaver or Infinity Edge starts into an attack speed item, but with all the tank buffs that they literally just did in the same patch, they're gonna see still Bork and Black Cleaver and whatnot.
yeah. Do you think
So I
Lucian is
don't
still
think
like Bork Black Cleaver like it has to be?
yeah, I think Lucian's Bork Black Cleaver with variation in his items of like possibly Sterix, Death Stance, and GA.
Gee.
So
Okay.
I don't really think that we're still going to be seeing the critical strike first 2 items.
Okay. And then Runeance Hurricane was changed around a bit. Instead of having on hit damage on the bolts and everything, and now the secondary bolt damage went from 25% total attack damage to now 40% total attack damage. That's a big buff, isn't it? For like Caitlyn, not so much for Kog'Maw, correct? But Caitlyn got definitely likes this item now more than she already did.
Yes.
And then rapid fire cannon, just the combined cost was changed a bit since the Zeal was nerfed. Nothing was changed other than the attacks become energized 25% faster, so you get the rapid fire cannon hit more often. They're trying to bring that item back, but do you guys ever see this item? And as it is,
And anymore, just not as much as it used to be. Like when it first dropped, it just hasn't been a necessity.
okay. And then static shiv, um, bonus damage against minions was nerfed, right? Yep, it was nerfed. It went from 120% to 65%, with the total damage going from 110 to 264 total damage to 99 to 164. So overall, later on it'll be the same, relatively the same, but not too much. So they're trying to nerf shift so that if you're building one or the other, you can. They're trying to leverage between them, right? I'm assuming that's what they're doing. Yeah. And then Phantom Dancer, increased whole gold just a little bit because they thought it'd be healthier. So they guess 50 gold isn't that big though, honestly. And then the armor pen items were all changed around. Last Whispers went from 45 bonus armor to 35 bonus armor. And then the Giant Slayer amplification went from 15% to 20%. And they all got the cost got lowered from 2,700 to 2,600. And then Black Cleaver got armor shred per stack went from 5% to 4%, which equals maximum shred now to 24 when previously it was 30%. So that's pretty big. How do you guys think about these changes to the armor pen items?
I think Mortal Reminder is not going to be nearly as good because so many items got their armor buffed. Like actually, I just think it's weaker in general, both of them, because all of the armor basically got upped and the bonus armor reduction or shred got lowered. So Mortal Reminder not as good, and they don't have the Giant Slayer help for tanks. I mean, it's still going to be nice with the healing reduction, but I just think Mortal Reminder is going to be weaker than Lord Dom.
Okay. And then support item quests. They did get a little bit changes. Basically, the gist of them is Ancient Coin now has like a Thresh passive, right? So you pick up coins when minions die. So a nearby enemy killed by anyone other than Ancient Coin's holder, they have a chance to drop either gold or mana coin that can be picked up by the coin user. So yeah, so it's like Thresh. You go and collect them, and after you get a certain amount of them, I believe, yeah, when you get 600, when you earn 650 gold through the passive, you you get a bonus skill. So basically, you get a free level up, which is big for supports there because often they rarely ever hit even close to level 16. They're usually 2 or 3 levels behind everyone else, right? And then
Yes.
the relic shield line, as you upgrade it, and you get 650 gold from it too. From the stacks that you get a bonus shield for yourself. So you get a shield on your shield, as they make a joke here. And then the Spell Thieves Edge line, 650 gold generation. It looks like procs increase. You get an increased movement speed buff. Yep, you get 50% increased movement speed for 1 second. Procs. Oh, okay. So whenever you proc Frost Queen's passive, you get a movement speed buff. So this is good for Lulu, right? If she gets a Q on
Yes.
someone, she runs around, so she doesn't need to proc her W on herself. She can proc it on someone else. I wonder does that work if she puts W on someone and they hit someone with it? Do you think
If it would go off picks, then it would, yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so then she gets movement speed for speeding someone else up. That's pretty big.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then Frostfang, Frost Queen's Claim, and Eye of the Watchers were all their mana regen was nerfed, but their
Nerfed.
ability power was buffed. So now mage supports are going to be able to bully you a little bit more. It's not too big. It's 15 to 20 and 50 to 60 and then 25 to 35, but that's okay AP to give to someone, right?
Yeah.
And then I know Plant, you wanted to talk the next one. You wanted to talk about
Rift Herald.
the crowd control displays.
Oh, never.
Oh yeah, the crowd control display. I mean, pretty straightforward and everything. I really enjoy hitting somebody with a snare and it actually showing up as a snare above their name, and the timer left on that said snare. And same for suppression, same for roots, just everything.
Okay, and you are able to disable those because I know someone asked me the other day, how are you able to disable them? It's just I think everyone's forced into the new client now, right?
Yeah.
All right, so
I mean,
you can
it
just
should be under in-game,
yeah.
not
If you go here and then you go
yeah.
in-game stuff, you go to interface, and then health bars and health and resources bars is right here. Show loss of control UI. You can turn that off if you don't like it. I know Plant loves it though.
Yes, yes, I do.
Okay.
Um,
And
what
then
else?
as well the end game stats. Have you guys looked at that much? I always look at it at the end of the game. I always look at my stats.
I'll be honest, I haven't played in like a week, so
I after every game, if I play support, I always like looking at how much I shielded people. It's nice. It's
how many
funny.
wards? Wards is a stat now,
Yeah,
right?
wards. There's a
Yeah,
score for wards now out of
ward
100,
ward score. Yeah,
which is
that's nice.
I don't know
It's a
how
little
they
bit more
judge that.
rewarding, right?
Yeah, a little bit more
Uh,
rewarding.
I think the next big thing we have to talk about is okay. Well, before that, Graves, he can no longer cast the abilities at the same time, so his ER, I believe it's auto ER was the combo,
Yep.
to not get pushed back by his ulti. That's gone. And Renekton, some bug fixes. Uh, Rise bug fix on his E so that it didn't lag anymore. And then Fizz's W, damage over time ticks, no longer count as spell hits. And then believe yeah, same thing with Shen Q. Serrated Dirk, I still don't think this item is going to be very big. The cost was just reduced a little bit, and AD was also reduced, which I think was a mistake, and the cooldown was reduced. Plant, do you want to go over teleport really quickly? Because I'm not sure I understand that very well.
Well, the teleport is. I mean, they describe it as usability improvements and everything, but more or less, if that teleport gets cast off screen, meaning off the map and everything, it's going to search for a nearby unit rather than having a specific target.
Yeah. And then finally, Rift Herald.
Yes.
You want to go over that, right? That's your
Oh
thing.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
It's just big. I mean, it it's turned into such a risk over reward sort of deal, and the reward is just so much greater than the risk associated with it. Like you're actually having like more or less like early mid game like Baron fights, if you want to call them that, over this Rift Herald, because I mean it's just absolutely just a devastating sport. Not devastating sport, Jesus. It's just such a devastating force, and I mean I've already seen it rip through like two or three towers and just completely turn the tide of of a game.
It's definitely going to speed up the early game a lot and have a lot more early aggression on the top side of the map. So early game jungles and tops, maybe even mids, could potentially be back in the meta too, instead of wanting to scale.
Um,
What are we talking about? It dashes. You can summon it, right? You
yeah, so
summon it
Yes.
when
it's like a cast time. So you
yeah,
think a Kazir turret. Whenever you put it down, how you like have a second animation for it. I think it's like
yeah,
2.5 second animation.
and then it dashes at a tower and just chunks the living hell out of it.
Think Yorick Wraith, where like it hits the minions, and then when there's no minions, it'll charge into the tower and take like 25% of the health tower. I don't know exactly how. I think it goes off its health, right? I'm not entirely sure because sometimes it chunks the towers more than.
Yeah, it. Let me look. New Leroy the reward. Oh, attack damage is based on average champion level of all 10 players. Turret leap attack, it deals 150 damage plus 25% of her current health to
Yeah.
the turret and herself. And that's basically it. I mean, you still have to hit its eye, so that's a thing
Yep.
if
So
you
you
want
have
to
to get
kill it.
behind it. So like if she's hitting your towers and there's champions behind her also hitting the towers, you're not gonna kill it very easily.
Yeah, you just have to position around it correctly, and it'll be an extremely hard thing to kill. That basically wraps up for Rift Herald. And last thing, the new rotating game mode of Darkstar, which looks not fun at all to me.
Do you want to
Objective,
talk
you
about it?
basically have to hook and flay people into the Nexus thingy, dark hole, and also The new skins, Darkstar Kha'Zix, Darkstar Oriana, the Echo Chroma, Sandstorm Echo Chromos, Officer Vi Chromos, and Warlord Chen Chromos will be released during this patch. I believe they are out now.
Yep.
And that's basically all. So I'm gonna
Plant, do you
wrap
want
it
to
up
talk about?
here.
Do you want to talk
Plant.
about the plant?
Plant had to go MIA for something really
Oh,
quick.
he had to go. Okay.
I
So
know
you can talk about the
that
game mode.
he very dislikes the game mode, and that's all.
Okay.
Extreme antipathy towards this game mode.
Okay. So that's it with the patch stuff. All right. Let me just go over here. All right, and then just gonna talk quickly about the First Blood current events. Tomorrow,
That's on you.
tomorrow or today, I guess if you're watching this, if you're gonna be watching this on YouTube, we're gonna be having a tournament, 5v5 free agent tournament that is free to open. You don't have to pay to get in, and the price, I believe the prize pool goes $100 to the winner, $50 to second place, and then a mystery skin for third place. So that's pretty nice for everyone. And you can register on Battlefy under First Blood. You can always look that up, or we can post a link for you guys in the description or on the stream if you guys would like, so you guys can check it out. There it is. But that'd be it in terms of current events. Tomorrow we'll be doing our promotions. A couple of people will be promoted. If anyone that is watching this that isn't part of First Blood, you can always look on Reddit. We always have links over there, and as well as we'll post in the description an invite to the Discord server. It's the Discord server provided mainly for League of Legends, but we do have a community base, so we like to do fun things like karaoke, sketch league. We do some custom 5v5s all the time. We have our own needle ladder for in-houses. All right, so I think that's it for everything. Thank you for everyone that tuned into the podcast today, and I hope everyone has a good day. And
Yep.
Kade, do you want to
See you guys.
Bye.